Hey fermenters, Austin Durant here. It's Friday the 2nd of December 2022 and I wanted to give you guys a tour of my miso collection. I've been giving hands-on workshops for miso making, which we've got one tomorrow by the way, here in San Diego. But every time I do that, I wind up saving a little bit from each of the workshops. So over the last 8 or 9 years, I've amassed a nice little collection. So here it is, let me show you. Okay, here is most of my collection of different misos. So where do we begin? Maybe we'll start with the most recent. So this was an actively fermenting jar of 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐤𝐬 rice miso. Started January of 21. So this is one that we'll probably be harvesting for use tomorrow in tomorrow's workshop. And pretty much this is how it's been since I began fermenting it. See, there's kind of a little bit of a layer on top, nothing too worrisome. But anyway, that'll be what we use to seed the batch of miso that we'll be making tomorrow. Here's one, okay. This is 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐤𝐬 and chickpea beans mixed together, and from November of 2020. So you can see this one's very well enjoyed. Just you can see there's a little bit of the tamari, which is the liquid that forms when you make miso, just hanging out. And I like to make sure to put a barrier between the metal lid and the miso. So this is a piece of parchment paper. That way it prevents corrosion from the metal and miso making contact. Let's see, let's find some more exotic things. Oh, actually, here's one that was an experiment to make cacao, to blend cacao in with miso. So this is actually a white miso that I made with lentils and, like I said, cacao. It's pretty darn good, so we're going to be tasting that tomorrow. What else? Another very recent batch, the same lentil white miso, but without the cacao. Go back a little further in time, shall we? Let's see. Here's another white miso. So I've been making a mixture of different misos. Red miso, which is the longer ferment, it shows up in sort of a darker color, and the lighter misos called white miso have a lighter color due to the different recipes that are used to make them. But anyway, let's move on. Here's one, a red miso, chickpea and 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐤𝐬 from November of 2019. And you can kind of see it, there's kind of this ooze, this stuff that oozes out. So even though these are stored in the refrigerator, fermentation and enzymatic action is still going on. So what'll happen is it'll sometimes ooze out of the jar, and it looks gross, but I gotta tell you, fermenters, this stuff here is actually the most delicious part. It's called the tamari. So even though this is more or less crystallized at this point, this would be really sweet. So I'll try to actually harvest it. If I was going to eat this on my own, I would maybe dunk the jar into some hot water and revive that really delicious stuff. It's 2019. Another one. So yeah, here you can see some more of the tamari that sort of crept out of the jars. And that's why I like to use a plastic container like this to kind of capture any of the overflow with all my misos. All right, so we've got another chickpea and rice red miso from 2019. Here's one. This actually came from my good friend Tara, who ran the Fermentation on Wheels bus for a couple years. Anyway, she gave me this 5-bean miso that she made in 𝐒𝐡𝐢𝐳, Wyoming from 2017. So all of this is still really good. I mean, miso tends to keep for really forever. I mean, not actually forever, but this is 5 years old now, and it still tastes great, smells great. There's a lot of salt, and of course the fact that it's an acidic ferment lends to it being very long-lived, especially when you put it in the refrigerator. Here's a light miso I made in December of 2020 from chickpea and barley. That's a little bit older. Here we go. Now we're getting into the archives. This is a 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐤𝐬 miso from 2016. And again, this is just the gunk here is just extra tamari that's made its way out of the jar. This one's getting hard to get open. All right, well, And you can see tamari acts as a bit of a glue, so we'll come back to that one. We got this. Another light miso from the same era. Here's a nice one, a red lentil white miso from 2018. Again, very aromatic still, very flavorful. All right. Here is, a peanut and rice miso I made in 2019. So you can actually make miso out of just about any legume, of which peanuts are in that family. So peanut miso is quite delicious, and you can see it has a very dark color, even when compared to some of the other beans that we use. You already saw that one. This one, actually, we'll save that for last, since that's the oldest one. Here's another barley, what does it say? Barley piso. So this actually was inspired by the 𝐼𝐻𝐷 Guide to Fermentation, their recipe, where they call it piso, which is basically miso made from peas. Again, peas being in that family, it's a pulse, so that takes well to miso making. And another 𝐒𝐴zuki rice from 2019. All right, here's one. Actually, I think these two are probably the oldest ones I've got. So this is from November of 2014. Now remember, it's 2022 right now. So this is already 8 years old and very difficult to open the jar. But at this point, you can see there's not a whole lot left. It's pretty dried out, actually. But again, it doesn't ever go bad in that sense. So I will. Looks like we may use this up tomorrow in our class. So, and how I like to sample miso in a class, as you might imagine, it's very strong, it's very salty. So what I tend to do is I use toothpicks. So what we can do is just grab a toothpick and any given miso here. Let's take this guy. Oh, that's the one I couldn't get open. Okay. Find one that we can get into. And then basically just take the tip of a toothpick, and you really don't need very much to get, the concentrated flavor of miso is already, like I said, quite concentrated. So a little bit of that, and get a taste for what the miso is. So that is my walk through miso memory lane. If I have any other gems here, I covered everything. Actually, there is one. This was a white miso, also from 2014. Now, I'm looking at it, and it is a little bit suspect. It's, again, very dried out. White misos typically don't have that ruddy color. I will probably give it a little bit of a try just to see if it's still viable. Again, it doesn't, fermented foods in general don't really go bad in that traditional sense. So, but there it is, going back from 2014 all the way up to a modern day 2022 vintage. So I'll be bringing a selection of these to the workshop again tomorrow here in San Diego, California. If not, there's plenty of ways to learn about miso on our website, fermentersclub.com. We also have an online self-paced course that is available through our Fermenters Club Academy. Well, that's it for our trip down miso memory lane. Thanks for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you around. Keep on fermenting.